Check, check. Okay. Good morning. Welcome to day 4 of our public practice week. It's interesting. I'm trying to really feel into the space, feel into this embodiment of the space. And at least for me, one of the signatures that have been present throughout this week is, I guess we could call it excitement. And there's a point about that I think gets us to the heart of what I intended to talk about, have a conversation with you guys about today. Our fixations. What are they? What is their relationship with the path? What to do about them? And how that relates to what I am getting at with this kind of energetic signature of excitement is that signature, what we identify it as, is what we would say is indeterminate. That excitement could very much be anxiety. But what is it that gives the meaning its flexibility there? We have a particular relationships with ourselves, with the world. And so when things like whatever this indeterminate energetic signature arises, well, the world we've already crafted tells us, prescribes to us, that is excitement, or that is anxiety. You know, speaking of this being a conversation, the instructors throughout this week have essentially already accomplished my job. If you haven't noticed, and I'm sure many of you had, I think Khan might have explicitly said so himself at the beginning of the week, there are steps to this training methodology that are being presented sequentially throughout the week. And you could say each day is its own. Well, it depends, right? There are these shifting scales of analysis that we use that might not be, well, they're always available. Speaking of the way we identify whether a certain energetic signature is excitement or anxiety or restlessness, whether it's melancholy, pessimism. Just like there's flexibility there's flexibility in the analysis, the scales at which we perform these analyses. And so my point with this is saying that while each day is a particular emphasis of these 6 steps. Well, each of these 6 steps, I guess 5 steps in the way we're presenting it here, are performed throughout each session. And that way, the various frames within frames, on one level of analysis, it's a microcosm of the week, each day being a microcosm of the week, of a larger macro cycle, and vice versa. But what the other instructors have done in their transmission, their conversation, and it is much more than a monologue, it is very much so more akin to a conversation. They've already laid out the groundwork of the nature of our fixations, how it relates to the path, the self. So what is this transmission? What is it about this kind of conversation that makes it any different? If it is different at all than the conversations we have throughout the rest of our life. With ourselves, with each other, with our friends, our coworkers, our family. What is it about if a conversation is a path? In some ways, it's a exchange. In a deeper way, it's a yoking, a union. Well, is there any difference? Does there need to be any difference between the type of conversation we're having here? If we're to see clearly the meaning of the moment, of any moment, and if this thing we call enlightenment is just a process of us coming to recognize who and what we are in our totality, well, then that, at one level, from the point of separation and exchange of communication, at another level, maybe a deeper level, yoking, a union, and at a fundamental level, a recognition of this basic non-separation. Then what is it that typically generates this sense of separation that we have with one another? Well, I think that's what's been talked about, at least implicitly over the last couple of days, is our fixations. Cognitive, affective, somatic. Yeah, we have somatic fixations. So then, if to see clearly the nature and the breadth of meaning of any moment, then there needs to be what was talked about on day one with this complete intimacy, being very intimate with the totality of what it feels like to be fully embodied, to fully embody our experience. right now. Which begs the question, what is it about our fixations that separate us from ourselves, separate our sense of self from a sense of other? What is that mechanism? And does that mean we are saying that that mechanism of separation is inherently bad? I don't think so. Just like there's a quote unquote spiritual path, well, like any path, any conversation, a career path, a fitness regimen, a path of travel, there are various boundary conditions to what constitute the structure of that path. And of course, there's a posited destination, a goal, an aim. And so, if it weren't for there being these boundary conditions, conditions themselves, reference points, there'd be no means of orienting, no means of sense making, of navigating, of even to get to this point where we can sit together and relate and contemplate on the nature of what this is all about. So then, establishing these reference points, what you could say are not fixations in and of themselves, but a condition for there to be fixation. They merely serve a function. They are functions. They are means for functionality. You know, if we label things as good, we label things as bad, we do so based upon our experience, we do so based upon our culture. And functionally speaking, it's necessary to be able to have some sort of means of mapping and modeling the world and our environment. Usually, if something is bad, it means it's a threat. It threatens our survival. And I think that's where we start to touch upon where a reference point, where a reference point meets the conditions to become a fixation. And so we have all of these various relationships with our friends, with our family, with our culture, and there's a web of relationships amongst them. Evolutionary speaking, what we deem to be moral aims at what is good, what we call the good, what is evil, even though I would say this is a cutting short of what evil actually is. But nevertheless, what our culture and our morals and our religions deem to be evil is typically seen as something bad. And there we go. We have the basis for the good that we cling to. the bad that we avoid. Already a basis for establishing a sense of where our attention should be placed. Typically, what feels good, even if it may be challenging, comes with a sort of pleasure or pleasantness. So our attention is already drawn in that direction. And typically, what feels bad, what feels like a threat, whether it's to, again, speaking of these various levels of analysis, on the collective level, if an individual is deemed bad, he is a threat to that collective being, that collective entity of a particular society. In a very similar sense, when something is deemed as bad or as a threat to our particular being, that could be something like a snake, or it could be something more and more, much more subtle, like the relationship that we have with ourselves, with the aspects of our being that we relate to as bad. Like maybe for some of us, our anger. Maybe for some of us, our sadness, seeing that we shouldn't be sad. Life's about being happy. And so then if we take up this belief unquestioned, we don't assess all of the assumptions that shore up the world that is then constructed around these beliefs and these assumptions. Well, we create blind spots. We create a perceptual apparatus that can only see in accordance to this view, to these partial views. Functional, sure. That's how we get along in a cohesive society. That's how we function when we don't have the capacity to deal with or approach these overwhelming, perhaps, emotions. Our unskillful relationship with them is why we then suppress them. And so, like was talked about at the beginning of this week, we start our sit by making contact with the totality of what it feels like to be with our experience right now. I think this is what Frank the Infinite Bra was one of the things he really helped to illuminate is various techniques of contacting the totality of the aspects of ourselves that we repress and we dissociate, when he would go on for a handful of years about body scanning, developing the concentrative power to reassociate with the various aspects of ourselves that are perhaps numb. We don't even realize that there is no feeling. And so as we continue to warm up, continue to breathe, we come to see that these points of fixation of who we take ourselves to be, the stories we generate, the justifications for various enabling behaviors, to shore up our preferences. All of those things shape this, again, this perceptual apparatus of mind and this interpretive framework of understanding that generates the world that we inhabit. And in doing so, we find that our attention is constantly fixating on its desired objects, desired feelings, desired storylines that facilitate and empower it to get what it desires, whatever that may be. In doing so, we create these blind spots. Wherever our attention rests on, shaped by these preferences, assumptions, and beliefs, what we grasp at, further substantiates the sense of separation from what we would otherwise avoid, what we would otherwise ignore, the pain, the discomfort, the contradictions, the seeming paradox, the things that contest our ground of identity. We ignore them. I mean, even you can just think about if you get injured. You move around the injury. You fix the way in which you should move to not have to touch that pain and discomfort. And you develop a whole new gait and posture around that. Just hope that the injury heals on its own. All the muscles that constrict around that pain point so that you don't touch in, tap in to all of the pain that's there. And over time, as this identity, this structure hardens, solidifies, we've created a sense of separation amongst ourselves. And so often then, when we're doing these practices, these reassociative practices like body scanning, for one example, we may find that we lose lucidity or ability to be with these intense aspects of ourselves, those emotions, the pain and the discomfort. So then we have other practices, other techniques that help us to address that. Loving kindness, metta practice. And that has its own steps as well, its own reference points that serve particular functions. We practice by sending loving kindness to others to generate and cultivate this ability to even generate that sense of compassion and loving kindness, altruistic well-wishing, before we can then perhaps turn it upon us and then just radiate it. And so then that gives us one means of when we contact the overwhelming, whether it be fear or discomfort, whatever, of reassociating with ourselves, the, various therapeutic and interventions, IFS, so on and so forth. We can give that love to the inner child. That is us. That is, for all intents and purposes, the source of a lot of our shame, embarrassment, maybe even greed. And so then, again, as we continue to breathe into this reassociative process as we loosen our fixations of mind and we expand our breath into the open field of awareness, the display of mind, the display of appearances. A lot of these contemplative practices then generate a source of a sense of observation, another fixation. And again, speaking of functions, can be functional. Maybe we don't have the capacity to fully be with what it feels like to just embody our anger. We don't have that skillful relationship yet. We haven't spent enough time reassociating, befriending that part of us, being that part of us, and then being that part of us in the world, learning how to express our anger in a virtuous way. And so having that functional separation between, that pain, that anger, and the observation is not inherently bad. But if we get stuck there, just like if we get stuck on any technique, any yogic maneuver, it becomes its own obstacle. Even the practice of do nothing, if not carefully investigated, can instantiate this sense of someone who needs to do nothing, another fixation. And so this is then when, although the instructions are very simple, just simply rest our fixations, there's also a lot of subtlety to it. We're not trying to annihilate any of these functions. As Frank says, neither existence nor non-existence. Transcend but include both. Can we then, instead of fixing things in their place, compressing the meaning of who and what we are, and who and what the world is and ought to be, we all see that in our various relationships, depending on who we're interacting with. We aggregate uniquely. And where it becomes dysfunctional, pathological, where it feels like we're not being our true self, is when we insist on gripping to who we think we ought to be. We see in the various relationships that we have with the world. That the flexibility of who and what we are, the various causes and conditions that we then express through, is where we learn about ourselves. We learn about ourselves in relationship. And so this tendency to fix things in their place as a way of navigating the world is exactly that, a part of the process of survival. We fix things in their place. This is only a chair. This is only a room. And this concept of a chair only exists in a relation to, well, the concept of me, myself, as a human, as a civilized human being who sits on chairs. And as long as we fix those things in their place in such a way, the range of possibility, the availability to actually express our free will is cut thinner and thinner and thinner. Is this merely a chair? Could it not also be a weapon? Could it not also be my dog's favorite chew toy? Could it just be a thing of indeterminate value? Because I can sell it for various amounts and buy something else? And one of the very important places that we get hung up on with our fixations is, what does it mean to die? We carry around this fixed sense of death as if it's something that only happens once in our lifetime. Same thing with birth. And in fixing the meaning of these things, a chair, myself, birth, death, we don't see clearly that we are being born and dying moment to moment to moment to moment. And then so, if your eyes aren't already closed, as we get into the silent portion of this sit, I invite you to be fully you. And as we rest into the totality of our being, untwist from the way that our fear of death and what we think it means to die and come to see with clarity that being is always at home. within this presence. Yeah, so let's sit.
Your
As we begin to cool down, there's no rush to open our eyes. Just like in any exercise program or workout session, we shouldn't rush the cool down or the warm up. Every time we enter one of these training sessions, it's in the warm up and the cool down that we're offered a unique opportunity in the warm up. We gradually reassociate, and in the cool down now we gradually associate with the context of our ordinary lives. And it's in this seeming transition that we're able to begin more and more to recognize the nature of meaning, the nature of phenomena, the nature of compounding, how being constructs itself. And as we accumulate the reps, we build the fitness to fully be with the totality of ourselves. The sheer weight of what is typically overwhelming. Frank talks about often in the past the change in perception, the refining sensitivity of the various senses. Sure, there can be that. And in this process of seeing clearly, we also come to see how suffering, well, what I want to say is we come to see how suffering is a choice, but which is true. Definitely not obvious, at least not with the typical ways that we make sense of things. But as we come to more and more see emptiness, see the empty nature of phenomena, then we see that friction that's generated from the incoherence of reality relating with itself due to the fixing of meaning, the planting our feet in the ground, the then incoherence of being, which then, if we understand that being is not apart from reality, the incoherence of reality. Suffering then just becomes the result of the conditions of separation, of felt separation, of this felt lack. Often, what people associate with this kind of existential longing, this desire for love, and so as we move closer and closer to discussion, where given the ability, the blessing for what is otherwise this indeterminate, ever present presence to relate with itself through being, and through the repetition over and over of this cycle, these cycles of training and sessions and so forth, the purification of the relationships, the web of relationality that give rise to this becoming. It's in this purification of these relationships that then the stickiness, the calcification of the structure of our being, our self, our ego around these tightly gripped reference points can be nourished, rehydrated, begin to flow. And so we see that this process of associating with the context of our life is exactly where the practice is. So this practice of reclaiming who we are and resting into the perhaps what we are, that further and further permeates not just the totality of our being, but the totality of our lives, and into the lives of others. Yeah, but I guess we can get ready for discussion. Check out the poll for the day, and yeah, hear from the other instructors and mentors and your guys' questions. Yeah, I'm gonna grab a drink. I'll be right back.
Where's Frank?
In the picture.
Very interesting poll question.
Mhm. Feels like an examination question from my high school. It's like you take 3 minutes to read it and then you have to read it again. Like, what's the
What does
right
it say?
answer for this one?
So I'm not the one who came up with this poll question. It was Taylor.
Yeah, it doesn't look like your style. Yeah.
This is the grammar, the word. This is way too advanced for me.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's Taylor.
hmm
Very precise.
Like those who are doing like all the luminous view and stuff like that, make sure you get the right answer.
All right. Who's let's hear from some of the folks who also have been training with Taylor within CC for a while. I see Jesse here. Um, what do you guys think?
Yeah, yeah, during the his book club, I usually have to listen to Taylor like a transmission because just his dialect is way above my capacity. So you just kind of have to try to absorb into the meaning of what he's saying without latching on to every word because there's lots of stuff that goes above my head. Um, but it was really cool seeing him actually lead a meditation.
What's the difference for you between like because in the book club it will be more like a presentation, right? Like there's points, a presentation, and then discussion. But now it's a transmission base where there is a sit and all that.
Um, yeah, I guess in the book club, it's we're talking about luminous heart, so really digging into a lot of vocabulary and different concepts specific to that and yoga kara, um, where this was more generalized. Um, and I felt more based around a transmission, a general signal, rather than something really specific. Because in the book club, we really every week dial down to getting into really specifics about certain things. So um, yeah,
And so how was it? How was this for you? Yes.
yeah, it was a lot of tension and things kept coming up for me, but it was all kind of wrapped in presence, uh, like a lot of openness, love, um, and as things would come up, I would notice the mind would try to land somewhere, and like kind of create a meaning about what this means, um, and then just to kind of see that that's not like the true um, meaning about it. That and then you could slightly change the way you're looking at it and see the meaning change. And then doing that would just loosen up your relationship with it.
I think we also have pretty much finished the poll question. Let's see what we have to say. Thank you for your sharing this. So the first one was during transmission, how clearly were you able to stay with the felt energy of experience without needing to immediately name it or interpret it? 0 will be not at all, and 5 will be very clearly. Seems the majority of us is more on the upper half, with 3, 4, and 5 combined to be somewhat like 83%, 82%. Only a few 5 have chosen to be 1 or 2. So that's like not very clear. Second question, when an energetic state, be it excitement, anxiety, restlessness, arose during the transmission, what felt most true in the moment? Option, it had a clear and fixed meaning. Least popular, only 1. It shifted meaning depending on the context. Most popular, 55% of us chose it. I try to decide what it really was. Second most popular, 23%. I mostly disengaged from it, and I'm not sure. It's kind of equal, 10% of us each. Third question, when encountering discomfort, be it emotional or physical, what felt most available during the practice? None of us chose pushing through it. The most popular answer that we felt to be the case is softening and staying in contact. An overwhelming 73% of us chose it. The other 3 is also quite similarly popular, is observing it from a distance, distracting or spacing out, and actively trying to change it. And if you click on view details, you can also read the description, what distinguishes a useful reference point from a fixation, if you click on there. Before we open the space for question reflection, I also want to check in with Jace and Frank. How is it for you guys? So I have a very pleasant sit. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. Be close. Yeah, feels like a very lucid and restful state. That's mostly what's happening for me. And just a very soft attention on what was being, just listening to what was being said. Almost like there's this sensation of just gliding.
Mm.
Did you say something, right?
Oh no, I was waiting for you to finish, and I was
Oh yeah, I'm done.
thorough. Oh, yeah, I had a very powerful sit. I think this week progressively more powerful and lucid as the days go on, and in terms of the speech, there wasn't a lot of interpretation, if any at all. It just felt like the words was indistinguishable from part of the transmission, reality, the totality of experience, including you guys.
Mm.
Which I read the comments, and one of the first comments was, this is more for the analytical mind, like his style. And from my end is that there's no such distinction at all between this is the style for the analytical mind versus whatever is the other sides of that reference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was kind of, oh, but this is analytical?
Yeah.
People are probably like dumbfounded by what I just said. This is not analytical? So this is the kind of the training we're doing here. Like I've been saying over and over, non-conceptuality, what I guess most traditionally considered omniscience is non-conceptuality, but non-conceptuality is not the opposite of conceptuality. It transcends but includes both conceptuality and non-conceptuality. So even that word in itself, we have so many meanings attached to even just the word non-conceptuality. What does that even mean? Does that mean it's the opposite of conceptuality? Does that mean you can't have thoughts? Does that mean to analyze? What's the difference between an analytical mind and a mind that is transcendental, spacious? So the questions,
Like
right?
if there was anything like difference that I felt just having been exposed to like in terms of this languaging, especially for Taylor, I think I learned how vague and foggy my previous literacy about like realization is. And like we just throw around words like realization or consciousness or awareness, and we don't actually
Yes.
have a clear sense of what exactly it is. And I think it's just after just reorienting to just truly listening to, I mean, sometimes we listen to it as transmission, and then at times if I allow myself to exert the analytical mind, it's realize that's how much precision goes into that sort of languaging, because we understand how easy it is for our view to be distorted. So yeah, I do see value in that too.
It's exactly like Jay says, it's a literacy, right? Imagine if you speak a foreign language and you only know 180 words, or maybe 80 words in it. Versus someone who's like Taylor, maybe he has 18,000 words.
Yeah.
So the level of precision is just way off the chart. And so then even just right now, well, which flavor of the transmission would you like to approach it in? You can flow with him in terms of the conceptuality. You can flow with him in terms of somatic embodiment. You can flow with him in terms of emotionalities I was talking about. You can tune into how he feels, relate with how you feel, and share the feeling together. The transmission is both cognitive, affective, and somatic in that way. And yeah, I mean, like Jace, Frank, and we've been in CC, and Taylor's the head pandita, who's yeah, in CC we have a secret book club that's only reserved for maybe 15 people. And in that book club, there will be Mei Chang and Taylor leading the discussion. So there is that aspect of Jay saying that, yeah, maybe it's analytical right now because we haven't had a similar the range of literacy to make this flow. Like Frank was just saying, that once that base of cognitive skill is well developed enough, it doesn't feel analytical anymore. It just feel like clear. It just feel like I'm talking to you right now.
Yeah. It's not like it's not analytical. It's that the meaning of what it means to analyze changes as well. Like in that moment, an analytical aspect of the transmission flows together with the somatic.
Right.
Right. Yeah. It's not like, oh, there's not no minutes. I'm just like, oh, these words are just empty. It's not like that either. It's not like, oh, I'm just obscenities and analysis. It's not like that.
We don't divide between, say, like, oh, there's an intuition over here and there's like analytical over here.
Yeah. Or somatic or
yeah, or somatic over there.
All the way to like the appearance and emptiness, whatever, the two truths. But then there's all those webs of like reference that we begin to tease out that can really dance with each other instead of just like Taylor say, fixate one thing defining this other thing.
Yeah.
And
somatic is a sense of embodiment in your body.
Like bodies.
And like, I mean, if the public practice week is a way to demonstrate what the practice is about, I think it will be my and our responsibility as instructors to kind of share an expectation that, yeah, people join a bootcamp and feel really stupid. Like they feel really stupid. Like I just don't understand what's being talked here. But that's an appropriate response.
It's essential chasm to cross.
It's like, oh, I have a stunted intellect. And as I develop more of these, it just become clear. So then we don't bypass by, oh, nothing to analyze that way.
I think Storm has his hand up for like a long, long time.
Hello. I almost asked this question yesterday even, but first of all, thank you for the transmissions today and the previous days and the next day. So the question is about confusion and about a certain topic, which is maybe mundane, I don't know. I'm a bit almost afraid to ask this question, but I have a lot of confusion about intimate relationships and sexuality. And this question is coming from maybe I've been, because I've done a lot of Cuenca retreats, and in that path, I even went for long courses, which means you have to be either in a long relationship or celibate. So as I wasn't in a long relationship, I was celibate for 2 years at that time. Then next I got into a relationship for 2 years, which now broke off. But now I'm in a situation where I'm really confused of how to continue with intimate relationships and sexuality and what it means on the path. And like in the Gwenka school, you obviously they see it as a sort of evil. That's how it's Maya, and you should avoid it. But somehow, for me, it also feels like an avoidance. Right now, after breaking up with my girlfriend last week, it would be way easier to become celibate again, but it would be almost like avoiding the topic and not visiting all those fears around intimate relationships and sexuality, and they, because our fears are either also going to the person, which causes a lot of anxiety and everything, but also fear of actually hurting people by going in a relationship and then maybe causing them a lot of pain. So it's not really a clear question I have. It's more like there's a lot of confusion about this topic, and there's this hope that maybe you guys can maybe shed some light on this, on how to deal with this, and how what is the meaning of intimate relationships and sexuality on the path. So that's kind of my question.
I think this is much more Jace's domain to answer, but I just want to start off real quick with this painting. Is Vajradhara with his consort. So they're literally fucking on top of my head all the time.
Yeah.
That's just what the content is yeah. Like even there is a conversation that can you really depict a complete being without their significant other? So yeah, right here. The darker blue and the lighter blue.
Yeah.
I can send a picture in the chat.
Add spotlight to a couple more mentors. I don't know. Like everyone has a relationship here, mostly. Yeah.
Well, you can even expand that metaphor to the appearance, the dance between appearance and emptiness is what's giving rise to your experience right now. And I kept saying the universe fucking itself, but maybe we can maybe go back to the human domain a bit, but it's all like it's all desire. It's all desire. You know, universe is pure
Looking.
desire. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's like we said in the transmission and what I've been talking about, it's all about how you relate to things and the meaning of desire to you in this particular context. That's what needs to be addressed, right? Your relationship to the desire.
Yeah, I think it's important to emphasize that we're not monastic in CC. So you might be familiar with the triple gem in terms of taking refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, but the M for modernity is something we emphasize. Or it could be marriage, making love,
It could
money,
be
markets.
a lot
These
of
are
it.
things that are easily
Machine.
bypassed.
Machine. Yeah, I was gonna just say machine. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the totality of life, including whatever it is that's, modern context. So we don't bypass, any of these areas of life. In fact, we look at it as the very training ground for realization.
Precisely like Adrian talking about, but like Storm, I think like your sensibility about this is such a huge and challenging topic. It's very much like an clearly discerned, accurate emotion, because all of us here, that's the biggest challenge really, is how do we deal with our significant other? How do we deal with the sense of we got to take care of them, got to be responsible for them. We have our bad habits. We have obscuration. We can't help in certain case to hurt other. Only in hindsight, we're like, damn, I did it again. Right? Even with the best intention, we still end up hurting one another. And at points like you want to love them, but sometimes it means that you may need to watch them suffer for them to realize the point of walking with you. Because if we're being real here, a lot of our significant others may not be interested in these things at all, like at all. It's very frustrating, right? Because you experience the path, you know what it feels like, you see the opening that it can give you, and you want to share. But it's almost that you are trying to love an addict of suffering, and they don't want to lose their addiction. So when you snap them out of the addiction, they have withdrawal symptoms. And now they blame you, now they scapegoat you, now they say you are evil, now they say you're controlling on all these things. And do you have the certainty to hold the frame? This is something that all of us, like the instructors and all the people and the mentors and everyone in CC has to train in if you are in a relationship.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's frustrating, right? Because like if you ask a monk about this, they don't have the context. They may give you perhaps a theoretical answer based on certain doctrines, but they can't get into the nitty-gritty with you about how it feels like when everything is going great and just suddenly something happened that she just snapped out again, or he snapped out again. It's just like I don't understand. Wow, I thought we were having a good time. Or like all the nuances of melancholy about like, oh, I'm really growing, but you're staying the same, and we can't be together if you won't change with me. All these different nuances. The monks, they have different problems with the brotherhood and the nuns with their monastic life. Of course, they also have relationship issues and political issues in monastery and all those things. But in the unit of modernity, right? When you come together with significant other or significant others, if you have multiple partners in that way, now you need fitness to handle that.
Yeah, I was just thinking that the way that you relate to your practice or just right now as you were trying to yoke to the transmission is then you'll see how you relate to your relationships. So for instance, if you have a tendency of dissociation, then you might see a parallel there or a sort of bouncing out of the transmission or maybe having some resistance to it. So I think that's what's helpful with practice is because what the invitation is to come as you are completely and to see your inseparability to the transmission. And in that way, you might see kind of a push-pull with that intimacy, because it's very intimate. Some people are saying like Taylor is very intellectual or whatever it is, so then they're seeing their relationship with thinking. So yeah, it can be revealing to see the correlation there.
Yeah, that's a really good way to describe it. It's like you're tuning, right? Like you come as you are. That's all the instruction is. We're just here to teach you how to be yourself and come as you are. But for most of us, coming as you are it comes with a lot of obscurations and afflictions that distorts your relationship to reality.
Because our
And then,
relationship to ourselves is distorted as well.
yeah. So the transmission provides you with this almost like a purity of intent that you can then tune yourself into. But then if you are bounced out of the transmission, or if there is a tendency for you to either feel resistance or you've been clinging onto the transmission too much, then how do I tune that? But then you're just really tuning yourself, or in a sense, right? Reality is tuning itself.
Would you then say that fear is resistance to being yourself?
Oh, I mean, like,
I think not necessarily, right?
not
Like
necessarily.
I would watch a horror movie and I would be afraid, but I don't think that's resisting being myself. I'm just afraid.
Yeah, but I mean real fear, not the movie kind of fear.
But what's the difference?
Yeah. It's the same. I actually use that same metaphor. I always say, like, people, they try to bargain and not to look at themselves and what then I said just training, like for example, if you're watching a horror movie, like the first time you watch it, you might close your eyes half the time. If you watch it like 10 times, 20 times is what like meditating is. You're trying to just constantly observe and look at yourself and develop this different sort of relationship, even though nothing like maybe the level of horror is still the same, the level of fear is still the same, but they're just developing a different relationship with fear itself.
Well, I would say a lot of people are terrified of being themselves.
I'm terrified of intimacy.
That's why we feel this existential fear whenever you come closer to like your true nature a lot of the times, right?
Fear of emptiness.
Yeah, fear of emptiness. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe we can move on. Thanks for the questions, though. Yeah,
It's a question. I think it's
a meaningful one.
it's a very important topic.
Yep.
Thank you for the answers.
Before we move to Fabian, the next one, but like, yeah, I would just want to highlight again that we have a lot of people here. Usually in the actual cohort, we are looking for about each of the space like this will only have about 20 people. So, and throughout time, so we have a lot of time to like really tease out all these things. And then, for example, Storm just share there is this concern about intimacy, the role of sexuality in the path, and then that would be a topic, and all of us would talk with one another. And then just go from that, just build this shared context and work through the problem together. The challenge of this week is that we have to do context switching all the time, because probably Fabian, the next question could be something completely different. So I have to switch the context. But a lot of times we weave our 1 hour discussion just on one single theme, and then everybody's work on that. And tomorrow we can talk about how it feels to move beyond shame in your body, something like that. And we'll just work together, work together, work together. And yeah, in that way, we have the spaciousness to really dive in. And one other thing as well, tomorrow on the Friday live stream, we'll also be there to answer a lot of questions. So we'll gather what you guys have shared so far and on that, have that space. So that's also one of the ways that we can talk with each other as well. Yeah. But Fabian? you like to share your question or comment?
Yeah, hello. I mean, yeah, there's even fear just to speak up. Which this week has been very humbling. I'm kind of glad that you guys brought up stupidity. Like, I definitely feel quite like stupid in a way. Like coming in here with some like spiritual practice, thinking I know some shit. Yeah, it's been really humbling. I feel how much I don't know, and yeah, today's sit was also. I appreciate Taylor's kind of analysis. Like, I like that a lot. It's kind of thinking about it more than going back to feeling it. Which that's all I wanted to share. Yeah, I feel quite stupid. Thank you. Yeah.
So probably one of the most painful chasms I have to cross.
It's feel
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah. It's definitely times that feel really stupid here, especially when you have a whole group of people seeing things all together, and you know you you won't be able to capture every nuance, every subtlety, of what's happening to you. And then there's times that some things are so obvious and you don't see it, and maybe like, God. But anyway,
Yeah.
I was looking at is that your wall behind you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a nice, very nice color. I'm just very captured by it right now.
Thank you. Yeah, but like even just coming with so much expectations about like spirituality or like sitting retreats, these things like kind of come with yeah, like an idea of how to like how this thing is meant to be or how I should be or yeah, like many things like you bring a lot and it's humbling really. So thank you guys and all the work. It's also inspiring too, like how much work you guys put into this. Like it's really inspiring. Like yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Fabian.
Fabian.
I think it's it's quite common that we come into these kind of spaces with our previous experience and previous practices, and we have yet to really contrast our experience with maybe with others. And in the case of people like in CC, for example, Frank is a very well-known case. So you know Frank's journey, but a lot of you guys maybe don't know Taylor's journey. So things like that, and the amount of work that Taylor put in the path to be where he's at right now in terms of, because like for like the way that Taylor uses word and use analysis, we would think, oh, we're not maybe not us here, but perhaps people who think in a very black and white manner. So it's like, oh, he's very analytical, therefore he must not be intuitive, or like he's very left brain, or those kind of things. But Taylor is one of the softest guys I've ever met in my life. Like extremely gentle and feminine, very and very soft, and yeah, like he got muscle and he's very built, but his muscle is also very soft. I touch his back, very soft.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure he liked that you say he's feminine, but okay.
No, Taylor knows it. Like Taylor also say he's very soft. Like it's just whoa, because usually people who's well built, you touch it, it's kind of tense, right? But Taylor's so
People are wondering what kind of activities we are engaged in now. But okay.
like touching. Yeah, and if you guys know about, I think Frank posted a couple of times yeah, he got also a great eyes for photography, great sensibility for the arts and all these things. And yeah, also like very hip with the time. Me and him, we just share all kind of memes on Instagram to each other. So it's hard to capture somebody like him and the amount of work that he's done to get here.
Yeah, we share our love for fashion.
Yeah, so it's like the way that I describe some of the men in CC, and I think the woman in CC is so cutting edge that we don't have a word for it yet. But at least the man we've seen there's a word that called like the kind of Renaissance man. Frank is one of that. I would say Adrian is one of that, and definitely Taylor is one of that. There's like they're just kind of good at a lot of things.
Yeah, I guess we can say the M for BDSM also stands for a maestri. We're trying to build a maestri culture or maestro.
Yeah. And the woman here, like Jace and Nikki, if we go and we develop a relationship with them, it's just like, yeah, we don't have a word for these kind of women. The word. What the fuck are you? Like there's not, it's kind of like scary what they are. Yeah.
But also not.
So I know I feel stupid in regarding to, damn, I thought I know, but I don't. In that way, just but then like develop the appetite so that, oh, that means like a huge breakthrough, a paradigm shift just happened. Like now there's a new terrain, new territory that we can map it out. And this could be a thing that if this contact hasn't been made, I may never even look at this blind spot because I thought I knew. Why would I look at it? So like what would that be worth, right? Would that be worth your 10 years of your life, 20 years, 5 years before we make the course correction? And I've seen so many people have initial realization and then they thought they're done. And but they done in a way that they still engage and kind of talk as if they know. It's like, so do you want to learn or not, bro?
Yeah, I get when people talking as well, like thinking, like telling people stuff, and
yeah.
for sure.
All right. We got two more people.
Yes.
Try to get through them.
Hey, Jordan.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going? I just wanted to express that I really enjoyed the introduction to this sit. Like for me, I haven't heard the term like fixation or like fixation used in that way. So the whole time I was trying to understand what he was talking about. And then at the end, he gave some examples. And then I'm sort of like, oh, okay, I get an understanding of what you're talking about. And then for the explanation of what we're going to do during sitting, like you're saying, oh, we're going to use this term fixation and use it on death, which like for me, it's like a new term. And then like to use it during the sit, I really enjoyed the way the sit was introduced in the introduction. Because for me, like death, I have a thought like, okay, yeah, like people die, animals die and stuff. But like if you look at it as things change, like death has to occur to make place for the current state of being. So there's like being in order, like death's required for change to happen. So like it's just like playing with different interpretations of like meaning. So like you can see death as like, oh, someone died, or you could see it as like things are constantly in a constant state of death and rebirth as
Right.
things change.
Yep.
Yeah. So I just want to express I really like the introduction for those reasons. And yeah. Oh, I also did want to mention my back pain's got a lot better since reading that book.
Oh,
So
by Albert.
yeah, Albert recommended. So
Oh, nice.
I feel much better. So it does look like it's like a psychosomatic issue. Probably suppressing anger, which I never really feel. Because like if I feel a little frustrated, I sigh and then like, okay, I got rid of the anger. It's fine. I don't feel it at all anymore, so it's gone. But yeah. So yeah, I appreciate being pointed in that direction. Because yeah, like my back feels fine. Before like the first two sits, I couldn't even sit. Like I was just walking back and forth. And then like yesterday and today, like I can sit the whole time and I feel fine. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And the whole time is pretty long, right? Like we today we
Yep.
sit for 80 minutes. Yeah, close to 80 minutes, 75 minutes.
Yeah.
You sound and look different already, Jordan. I don't know if you realize it.
Well, yeah,
I
yeah.
was
I've been
like,
feeling different.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. Mm.
Now he's got to go break some shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't done that. I tried to just feel it. Like for 5 hours that same day, I just tried to feel rage. And I even told my like an AI just tried to make me as angry as you can or whatever. They like start start like insulting me and like stuff like that. But I just like tried to feel it, and I couldn't. It didn't feel like natural for me to like break stuff or anything. Like I tried punching a pillow just to try to like sort of feel the emotion, but uh, it seemed to me that like actually acting out the emotion is its own way of suppressing it. Like I don't want to feel the emotion, so I'm just gonna do whatever. I'm just gonna go um like unconscious and just act out the emotion. But it seems like if you're like to actually experience it without having to act it out, that's sort of suppressing it even less than it probably acting it out's better than what I was doing, but I think a step further would probably be to just like feel it without going unconscious and just acting it out. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Jordan, can you name the book again? There are some who are interested to ask.
Healing back pain, the mind body something.
Okay.
Well, the author was, oh man, I kind of forget. It was like Dr. It's sort of like a P.
I see.
Dr.
Yeah.
Sarno, yeah.
Thanos.
Sarnos, yeah.
Oh,
But yeah, it's calling healing back pain and the mind body something like but yeah, if you type in his name, like his book comes up right away. But yeah, it helped me a lot. Yeah, so yeah, that's the comments I had. So yeah, thanks.
So Jordan, I have two comments for this. Number one, we just like this is what we mean by we need instructors who know you so that they can give very clear, direct feedback to like, you got this problem, you check this out, and now that's opening up. Let's talk to the next things. Right. But if we go search a YouTube channel, how could we connect the back pain that you feel and that book? Like, how would that even happen if there's not a conversation and a dialogue, right? And
Yeah.
that's point number one. Point number two about you specifically is like Albert was saying that, okay, there is this repressed anger and a lot of this kind of need to express that in that case. And Taylor is a very, very intense person who's also have pretty much mastered his violence. But he's also is like his base, and you can say that his base stats also have a lot of anger in it. That like growing up was I think he was saying that growing up he was a punk, but he got to tame his punkness. Just now, yeah, being able to be suave and but yeah, but in his way of doing that was actually to channel whatever that anger was into sportsmanship and competitiveness. But a lot of time we lack the outlet for that energy to flow properly, right? So like Taylor was saying, like it's not being hydrated, it's not being nourished. So then it just kind of like have that pain, and we have to build the entire posture around it, hoping it will heal, but it doesn't. It's just pain. So then so yeah, thank you for sharing that. Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks, Jordan.
yeah, no problem.
And yeah, if we see that, like then we compound that with 12 weeks of one boot camp. And for Adrian, Nikki's here, 2 boot camps, so that's 6 months. For Jace here, that's 1 year of 2025. Just constant instruction. And that's why, like, when I talk with Adrian and talk with Nikki about, like, yeah, time doesn't really feel like, we say 3 months, say 6 months, but it's also feel like 2 years has happened. I think Tina also commented how Frank has changed since the last time that she saw Frank. But like, yeah, exponential growth that way. Okay, we can go to the next one. Hello, sir. Oh,
Hello.
I think we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, is it good?
Yep.
Okay, I just came on because I want to speak about my problems with addiction, and it feels like I'm in like a loop, and I don't really know if I want to quit with addictions. Like it's like there's two people inside of me. It feels like, yeah. And I tried to go to rehab for it, and then when I was like sober, I got this anger that was coming up, and I didn't know what to do with it. So I started smoking again. Then I got kicked out, and I fell deeper into substance addiction. And like in my day-to-day life, I want to quit them, but I don't have the willpower, you know? So I don't know like what to do. It's like I'm stuck in a loop. And I try to meditate here and there, but I also don't really have too much willpower for that. And yeah, I don't know what like the next, yeah, I don't know what I could do to get out of that loop, you know?
I relate. I was kicked out of rehab too.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I mostly just want to talk, you know, to I want to talk to you guys. That's why I mostly put up the hand. Yeah, but that's something I'm struggling with, you know.
Is it new for
Yeah,
you? Is it new for you to be trying to seek some sort of help from your addiction?
um, like I don't really know if I really want to seek help for it,
Mhm.
but then again, I do. Like if I think about being clean, you know, and like having more energy to do better stuff, it feels good in my head to yeah, it would feel good to do that, but in my day-to-day life, I don't know. It feels like I don't know. That's why I'm like kind of yeah. It's kind of weird. It's like feels like a loop with like, but it's like two people, you know. It's like yeah. It's like one mind he says you have to stop, and then the other one when I stopped it says you have to start. You know. my question is like, if any of you guys have like experienced something like this, what got you out of it, you know?
Hopelessness. Have you experienced that?
Hopelessness? Maybe I'm like I've been at the edge of it, but I've never had like, I don't think I had the feeling of like, yeah, there's nothing that's gonna make me feel better now. But I've been like, I think I've almost felt that. I'm not sure.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, if you're not sure, you're probably not feeling it.
Okay.
It's almost like you have to kind of exhaust and do everything you can to try to manage and control it and see that you're bad at doing that. But I think Frank also has, I mean, there's another aspect of just using sheer will to try to figure it out. And that can sort of exhaust the energy.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's like
thinking
you just have,
Do you have ways that you can express yourself?
uh, not really anymore. Like I just watch YouTube all day. I used to have like a gaming PC. I used to be a gamer, but then I sold it. Yeah, just to buy more drugs and then just fell deeper into it and just using and watching videos all day, YouTube videos and stuff. Not really getting out of my bed. And I could probably get some things to start expressing myself if I
Yeah,
really
or
wanted to, you know?
exercise, physical exercise. Start
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
most basic things, fix up your diet.
I think
yeah,
Adrian can definitely
that's true.
talk about this because I was just talking with Adrian, and Adrian is giving a context about the problem with modern young men and the lack of an initiative process into the mature version of ourselves. So, Adrian, maybe you can share more.
Yeah, I was actually thinking lacking like to meditate is part of the problem. It literally is like to train up like a certain amount of fitness, have willpower, right, to commit or to set out
Mm.
to um one just like the fitness problem, perhaps there's that address, and it may or may not be through meditating, but it's just like practice that you actually develop momentum, continually opt in, right, to do something perhaps uncomfortable. Like maybe that's really hard to do. Pain. Avoidance might be too. I'm curious. It's kind of like Dr. Gabor Mate talks about. It's not about the pain, because it's really what's underneath, like the, perhaps there's a big avoidance. But we can even investigate if we have basic fitness and keep long enough to observe or to with. It's kind of hard to explore in a short, maybe big topic, lots of invents.
Yeah,
It's also a societal kind of men and just men's health is that we live in a culture where there's a lot of uninitiated males, really not given the right passages, rites of passages and traditions to move through the developmental arc. So I think there's a lot of darkness, and it doesn't help that the environment seems to keep perpetuating that sort of stagnation. Being addicted to scrolling, YouTube, whatever, and yeah, like just the pain of life, right? Taking on that responsibility. So yeah, it's a big topic. I don't know where to
You're trying to make
go
us
from
into
there.
cattle. Revolt against the machine. Fight back. Escape the matrix.
yeah, that was really it. And I meditated today with you guys, and I was like sitting in the lotus position, and both my feet like went numb fully, and like it was really hard, man. I was just trying to get through it, but it was good.
I wonder if the ancient India have chairs, the posture would have different.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
they
you
just
can also choose.
chairs. You know, like there was no chairs 1600 years, 1600, 2600 years ago. Thank God for chairs.
Yeah, thank God.
So many monks fuck up their knees doing that, and it's just miserable for them at the end of their life.
I also have a lot of back pain. Yeah, man.
So, yeah. So thank you for sharing that, Nisa. Yeah.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much for letting me join it.
So before we sign off, any concluding thoughts from your side, Taylor?
Well, it was nice to hear from all of you guys here, your feedback. Thank you for the glazing con. That was great. It's hard, right? It's hard to give, like you were saying, any sort of very specific feedback to any individual. But I think this last exchange kind of touched upon something that maybe we can all take away from this discussion. And it's what was just being shared. It feels like we're stuck in a loop. It feels like there are these competing aspects of ourselves. And it very much is like that. We have these competing desires. That's part of what I wanted to or attempted to touch on in today's transmission. And these various desires, insofar as they're not seen to be us, feeling like we have to plant our flag on one side or the other, not seeing them then as these kind of stars that are stuck in each other's gravitational field, just constantly attempting to circle one another. And then as such, right, it's like then on our part, not being clear on what it is that we want, not being clear that we actually want both of these things. And kind of in this dance of desires that actually co-arise, they're codependent with one another, they co-enable one another, they support this dynamic that our life then is situated atop, is developed around, structured around. Then I think what Adrian was saying about these daily conscious decisions to opt in to do something different, to change. And it might feel stupid, but I think actually it's kind of in a acceptance of our stupidity that we actually become a active participant in our karma, in our we become an active participant rather than feeling like we are a subject who is at odds or who resists. And so then it's like through these daily conscious decisions, opting into doing something different, to being different, that we develop what I was trying to get at when with this kind of capacity to actually express our free will. But yeah, I guess I won't go on for too long. That's all I have.
Side note, Taylor's doing this at what, 2 a.m. your time right now?
Oh, do you hear the rooster in the background? Oh, it's now it's 4:20 a.m.
Middle of the night.
Yeah.
Hawaiian time. Middle
Yeah.
of the night. But okay, so we got two things we want to mention. Number one is that we have a very, in my opinion, amazing gift for you guys. You guys show up on Saturday. We'll talk more about Cohort 8, but we want to show appreciation for your engagement and your trust and your time, attention with CC. So just showing up on that day, we'll be able to really paint a picture about what's going on with CC and how, if you want to continue to engage with us, can do that. Right, so there's a special gift there for you guys. But before we go to Saturday, tomorrow is Friday, and it will be Mrs. Jace's turn to take the instructor seat. And yeah, it's the one and only, the Singaporean tigress, the head mistress, leader of the mentors, pit instructor giver, heart tigers,
I don't know.
forever
It's
23
fine.
blue,
I'm blushing. Oh,
cold-hearted bitch, man killer, husband tormentor, all these kind of titles, right? And it's also in the trajectories that if you guys are seeing, each day is getting subtler and subtler and subtler. And tomorrow really will be to the point of subtlety that you may not even feel like you're meditating at all. But that's kind of like the point in the design and to see the process. So yeah, that's a little bit context for tomorrow. And thank you guys so much. Now we'll debrief this and we'll rehearse for tomorrow to continue putting on the show for you guys and move the momentum forward. Thank you and take care. Bye-bye, guys.
like